Hi, ladies. Welcome to another episode of the Femalepreneur Coach podcast. I am your host, Rebecca Barr, and I'm super excited to have you here today. So this episode is serving a few purposes today. So I'm obviously recording for YouTube, for my weekly blog on there. I am recording for my podcast, but also this is going to be a brand new module that I'm going to be uploading to my fantastic new venture, which is my book writing club. So for anybody that hasn't been following my journey on socials, I'm actually embarking on my journey to writing my first book this year in 2023. It's been on my heart for a really long time, ever since I was basically a little girl. I've always wanted to be a writer. I absolutely I have such a deep love for writing, but also just from a creative outlet point of view, and it's a really great way to connect with your inner voice, your feminine energy, like creativity, and really bringing something forward that's truly unique. But also, obviously, when I was younger, it was a great form of escapism for me. But also, especially, I always think I've had such a restless spirit. I'm absolutely a gypsy at heart. I always love to travel. I love to imagine all of these incredible adventures that I'm going to be having. So visualization reading has always been a really great outlet for me and really showing me what is possible in life when my immediate environment at the time maybe didn't suggest that. So I'm super excited to be starting this journey officially this year. But obviously, like anything as a coach, I always wanted to be super transparent with the behind the scenes and the journey that it takes to get somewhere. I never want to be one of those coaches that kind of, was just the polished version of themselves every day. When you see online and you're like, they're on a yacht, they're making seven figures. Like, I want to know how they got there. Like, what did they actually do? And as much as somebody can tell you, it's so much more powerful to really be in close proximity of somebody who is in that growth state in their business, which for me as a manifesting generator is always, I'm always going to be in a state of growth because that's my human design, my personality type. As soon as I've mastered something, as soon as I have kind of felt or feel like the energy's dissipated and I've done all I can do, then it's about pushing the boundaries onto the next thing. So I always think being in that energy of somebody as they are going through and doing the thing is so powerful in terms of learning, feedback, and actually seeing the reality of what it's like. So for me, when I set the intention that this is going to be the year, I was really clear that I wanted to bring as many people on the journey with me as possible. So part of that is obviously, kind of explaining the good, the bad, the ugly, the highs, the lows, and all of the great things in my podcast and on all of my social content. But also for the women who want to do the same thing and have perhaps had that book on their heart for a long time as well. I've made an exclusive container for women so that they can join me there in the process. I've invested thousands in coaches and mentors and aligning myself with colleagues and peers that have done this themselves. They're best-selling authors, and so that I could fast track that growth. I didn't want to kind of blindly stumble my way through it, but also I wanted to understand the process. This I see going forwards, and literally the whole process from writing, proof of concept, to marketing, self-publishing, how to monetize it, branding, distribution, like basically all the things. And that's what I want to share with you guys here. On this episode, initially, this is going to be the all around getting the concept for your book, because I think a lot of women as well always say, oh, who am I to write something? I don't have anything new to add. I've got nothing innovative to say that hasn't already been said. So I wanted to kind of speak about that today, because I know that can typically be a hurdle for a lot of women from actually, it gets in the way of them actually even doing the thing and seeing what is out there for them. But obviously then also give you a taste of what is going to be included inside the book club, the book writing club. So if you are interested in joining me there, it's literally such a no-brainer offer. But there had to be an exchange. That was the thing. I couldn't just say, oh, anyone who wants to come, because it would be like opening up a free Facebook group. There's hundreds of people in those groups, but nobody's ever engaging. And it really needs to be the women that are committed to the journey, because even with the awareness that I have and clients that I've worked with that have been through this process, I know that it's going to be tough, inevitably. Even just looking at my diary now, it's putting me into habits in terms of like structuring my day and planning. All of that kind of goes against my basic human nature. I am very much, as much as I love a lot of structure to my day, I don't like to plan too far out ahead. And my projects move very quickly and it's very high energy, going all in, getting stuff done, retreating, coming back. With a book, it's like the journey is going to be longer. It's inevitably, even just there'll be elements that will be held up by other people. So I have to be mindful of that and realistic with that and start to get ahead of that now. So it's like, okay, what can I commit to? And I've got a whole module inside the book writing club as to how you can really set yourself up for success with your mindset, practically, basically all the things. But what I wanted to talk to you today was obviously about the concept of the book, because like I say, I truly believe that we, as women, we have so many incredible stories inside us. Even me just kind of brainstorming, journaling, and just putting a little bit of thought and structure around what it is that I want to talk about, I'm like, oh my God, there's so much I could include here. If anything, I'm going to struggle to get this into one book because there's just so much that I could talk about around this topic area. And I think until you give yourself permission to really step into that creative mode and allow yourself to open up to what is meant to come through for you, you're probably thinking the same thing. Like, I've got nothing to say. How would I write a book? I don't know what I'm doing. So this was kind of the purpose of my episode today. And obviously this will then go into the book writing club members area as a module. But so what I wanted to talk to you about was obviously the concept. So it is essentially, there's so many ways that you can approach this. Obviously, for me, my book will be part of my brand. So I'm not writing like a book for fun. I mean, it will be fun and I'm really excited about it, but it's on a topic area that really makes sense with my business and my brand. And probably most of the women that are coming to me, they're not coming for a creative writing class. This is about women who want to add a revenue stream to their business, build credibility, build authority, expand their reach, like do all the things. So the most obvious thing when it comes to thinking about the concept of your book is looking at your brand pillars. What are you known for? Where do you want to kind of stake your claim in the online space? It's like anything. When you put yourself out there as a brand and as a person online, you've got to have your zones of genius that you can really talk about and get into flow, and also something that you've got some experience of, because really that's where the value is. I mean, there's just so much that I could talk about around this, but it's the stories, it's your view, your experiences, your connections, your clients, like all of those things that are truly going to make this book yours. So the more that you can lean into that and just, obviously have a framework and everything else, but make it really about your spin on the thing, whatever it is that you're talking about, the more that you will be bringing something original and innovative and creative to the market, even if it's been said 100 times before. I read a book the other day about Ikigai, because obviously I've got the Aligned, Empowered and Abundant Academy opening up next week. That's all about connecting within your soul's purpose, like all of the great things. Ikigai is obviously a really great framework to use around that. And the amount of books that have been published about that one topic is mind blowing. And yet no one ever sat there and thought, you know what? There's quite a few books. I'm not going to say anything more about this topic. Everybody are still continuing to bring their spin, their take, their experience, their voice to that subject. So I think if you are coming from a place of this is going to be aligned with my business, it's something that's going to help me to build my brand and portfolio, and presence online and all the things, then go with what you know, go with what you're already known for, so that you already have some of that credibility and depth to your book. So you're not just regurgitating something else. There's nothing worse. I've read many a books on manifestation over the years, and it's not until you really get to those people that have actually got those experiences to talk about that you can really get into, like I say, the good, the bad, the ugly behind the scenes. Which, so maybe I'll write a book one day on how to write a book once I've done it, because I can share my stories, my client stories, the women that are going to be joining me on this journey, their stories, about the process. So I have something new to bring to the table. Um, so yeah, so and obviously if you are somebody like me who is multi-passionate, it could be a bit of a sense check around what to lead with, because the reality is this book could be probably already filtered out over 3 different books and sectioned out accordingly. So don't feel the pressure to put absolutely everything that you know about this one topic into one book. It may be that it becomes a series. I've already got the first 3 books for me, because it's like the first one is my obvious one, the thing that I can talk about. So this is also something you might want to work through as a process, is like, what is the thing that I can talk about all day long, the thing that called me to even working in the coaching space? What was or whatever it is that your business industry, what is that thing, that overarching theme, that golden thread that runs through your business that you could talk about all day long, that keeps you coming back, that keeps you creating new innovative ideas and content? What is that thing? For me, mine is obviously money. You know, everything starts and stops with money. That's why I'm a coach. It's something that's very close to my heart. I have that clear line of sight towards female empowerment and financial empowerment, and that is typically, and living life on your own terms. I can see the very clear line of sight around how that then translates to having your own business, to truly living your life on your own terms. But I'm not writing a business book, I'm writing a money book, because that will also relate to more women outside of entrepreneurship. So, and that's the stuff that, like I say, drew me into being a coach in the first place. It was money. It was how to make money, how to keep money, how to stop self-sabotaging with money, like all the things. And my approach to money is very different to a lot of others, in the sense that I am a classic Gemini. I do both sides of the coin. So I am very much in my masculine. I am a get shit done kind of girl. I do all the things. I have a lot of structure. I have a lot of masculine metrics in my business. I love the data, love a spreadsheet, but I'm also very much in my feminine. I love the spiritual aspects of money. I love the energetic aspects of money. I love the neuroscience. I love it all. So this book would literally cover all of those things. So I'm super excited about that. You can obviously hold me to that. This is me keeping myself accountable to what it is that I said I'm going to do. And I cannot wait to look back. Like, that's another reason as well why I'm documenting the journey, because I cannot wait to look back with all of these incredible lessons and hindsight that I'm going to have at the end of this journey, and then be able to add even more layers to what it is that I'm teaching. At the moment, I'm using principles that are across the board. You know, I already know that women are typically going to struggle with things like mindset, imposter syndrome, making room for the creation process, for perfectionism, all of the things. That's the same in most areas of life. You know, for women, we struggle with all of these things. So I'm already looking at the process, what I know will come up for my clients that are going to be in these containers, and putting in place measures and resources and trainings and support, and designing this container to already help them move through those points of resistance. Um, so yeah, so money is just something that I would lose time in. I Even now, it's part of my daily reprogramming with money mindset, because the work is never done, right? So at every new level of income, every new scenario around money, there's going to be a new level of resistance, because it's new. So that's inevitable. It's human nature. It's going to happen. So it's the kind of thing that, for me, it's never done. Like, even I invest in money programs, even I invest in coaches that can support me with my own money mindset challenges. Even I still do my affirmations. Like, I walk the walk. So therefore I can see that I can add so much value to this space. So that's what I would love to invite you to do, is when you're sitting there thinking, what can I even write a book about? What is the kind of thing that either you are that go-to person for, people come to you all the time to talk to you about these things, or it's something that you can really lose time in, you would talk about it all the time. Start with that thing that you're most passionate about, because until you get into the rhythm of writing, and I remember this even when I was in university studying for my master's degree, when I was in HR, human resources, I would always start with the thing that I was most excited about, because even just moving from, you know, emails and stuff at work into the style of writing needed to write academic papers was a learning curve for me. And it will be the same again, writing into the tone that lends itself to a book as much as I have a blog. I have no doubt that there will be elements that I will struggle with or just won't click for me. So even just moving into that style of writing, there'll be something there. So if you can start with something that you are like all already at the beginning, then that's going to carry you through those moments of resistance. If you're starting with something that already feels like a bit of a stretch or maybe not quite as exciting, are you going to be as compelled to move through those times of resistance? Probably not. Another practical thing on that is around like, what is your audience telling you? So I'm always about creating in collaboration with your community. So what are the things that you normally get the most engagement on? Like, I already knew before I even had the awareness of writing the money book, intuitively, that anytime I talk about money, I always get a in like 99% increase in open rates, in podcast downloads, in signups for masterclasses, like all of the things, because money is like the center of all things for me and the women in my community. So and I will be looking back over posts that have really been quite activating for my audience. So I would love for you to kind of consider that if you're stuck on what the concept of the book potentially could be, but also ask your audience, don't think that this offer is going to negate anything else that you currently have out there. I have like money mindset courses. I'm not negating the potential sales of that course by writing a book. It's a completely different experience. So I think ask your audience, even if they're previous clients, ask them what they would love to hear more about so that you can then really lean into that, but also build your warm audience for when it comes to the launch, which is exciting. And do that process in collaboration. That keeps you accountable. It keeps you held and supported and continually moving forwards. So I think I've kind of covered off like, what do you want to be known for? What can you talk about? What do you lose time about? I would say remove your ego from this element, in the sense that we can do a lot of should do's, like I should write this, I should talk about this, I should do this. But if that is not ultimately on your heart, then it's not going to land. Like, the energy behind it will just not be as powerful as something that it's like, I cannot let this like just not come out. And I want to refer actually to the Elizabeth Gilbert quote in Big Magic, and this really resonated for me, and I think I listened to it last year, and I actually put it on my stories today because it was just so powerful. But essentially it was saying around, inspirations, ideas are just things that need to be manifested into the world. And if you don't, ideas are driven by single impulse to be made manifest. And the only way an idea can be made manifest into our world is through collaboration with a human partner, which is us. When an idea thinks it's found somebody, say you, who might be able to bring it into the world, the idea will pay you a visit. It will try to get your attention. Mostly you will not notice. You will, this is likely because you are so consumed by your own dramas, anxieties, distractions, insecurities, and duties that you aren't receptive to inspiration. When it finally realizes that you're oblivious to its message, it will move on to somebody else. And that kind of literally struck fear into my heart when I read that, when I was actually listening to the audiobook. So when I had that, I was like, oh my God, like, it has to be now. I need to write this book now, because if I don't, what if it goes to somebody else and then they have this incredible success? And that's happened to me in business, where I've had an idea, and then I don't know if it's the algorithm, but then all of a sudden I didn't move quick enough. And I think that's when I started to remove the ego from my business, and fear of perfectionism, and having, all of my ducks in a row all the time. And I just linked into moving quickly and doing what felt good and what felt timely and what was kind of reactive to what my audience needed, so that I never felt like I'd missed the boat again. So that was really just like a life lesson for me in business, is around like removing your ego, the fear of being seen, and fear of being good enough, and just like doing the damn thing, essentially. So I would also say like what your strengths, your interests, and all of those things. But ultimately, if you are sitting there right now and you're like, oh my God, there's a part of me, there's a little flame that's flickering that says that I want to write something, like, maybe you're as inspired as I am, and reading is such an integral part to your reprogramming, your mindset, like your daily joy, your daily bliss. I literally, reading is such a big part of who I am, and it shaped so much of who I am today. It wasn't the people that were around me, it wasn't environment that in which I was raised. It was the inspiration that I received from magazines and articles and books that really expanded my view of what was possible with the world. So I feel that great loyalty and that full circle moment to come back and contribute something to that space, and that woman that would again be sitting there just waiting to hear what it is that I've got to say. So I think if you are struggling with your concept, sit with that today, put your hand in your heart, like take a deep breath, really lean in and ask yourself, like, what does the world need me to share right now as my message? And I truly believe that something will come forward for you. And then if it does and you feel inclined to do so, I would love for you to come and join me in the book club. It's going to be book writing club. It's going to be evergreen, so you can join anytime. I'm intending to have my book literally written, published, and on Amazon in the next 6 months. So, and I've penciled in my book launch in October. So I fully intend to move quickly. I don't want to overthink it. I don't want to procrastinate it. I want to just be a conduit for a message that needs to come forward in to the world, essentially. And I hope that you take the same approach and give yourself permission to just do your thing, without all of that pressure, without all of that fear. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this episode and it's given you a lot to think about. Even if you are considering it and thinking, but is it a good use of my time? Like, there's so many ways that you can monetize a book and that it can become an integral part of your marketing plans. It gives you instant credibility with your clients. It gives you more foots in the door. It positions you as an expert. It gives you additional forms of revenue. That there is absolutely no hesitation in my mind that this is going to advance my business and my brand, but also it's going to allow me to serve at such an accessible price point, which feels so bloody good. Because even though I've moved on and my ticket price has moved on, I still want to help the woman that hasn't necessarily moved on yet. So I hope that you've enjoyed this episode. I hope it's given you a lot to think about. I'm going to put all of the details for the book club in the show notes, and feel free to reach out on Instagram if you have any questions. But otherwise, like, let this be the thing that you do that really is that truest expression of yourself. And I hope you have a fantastic day.